Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
We're so glad to
see you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member of CC Pensive and now Conferring Notebook. We're here to get better acquainted with Conferring Notebook. So we're going to be going over why Conferring Notebook, current functionality, exciting news in the pipeline. So to start, we want to see who's joining us. So let us know where you're coming from, and then also how long you've been a member. I know some people have already been saying, we already have Marcella from New Delhi.
Hello.
But we'd love to hear how long you've been a member. And while you guys type that in, we are going to just share a little bit about us, and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah, I am. Actually, let's make sure you can really see us. Let's close our presentation. Oh, there we go.
Big, really big.
I am Madeline.
And I'm Emily.
And we first built and launched CC Pensive, the Cafe Conferring Pensive, over 7 years ago. And at that time, there wasn't a tool where you could, in real time, share your conference notes with other teachers. And so we are trained in technology. We are not teachers. It's so fun for us to be able to help educators because we were raised by teachers. It was all around us, and we enjoy being able to observe teachers in their classrooms, interact with all of you at live workshops, and we really do work hard to try and make your lives as easy as possible. And that really led us to the relaunch to become Conferring Notebook.
Okay, so we're going to pop back over and see. Wow! Jen has been a member since the website started. Yay!
You are awesome.
Peggy from Vermont for 3 years.
Joseph from North Carolina.
Another direction.
Oh, wrong way. Sorry, still getting used to this.
Let's see. Linda for 3 years. Oh, did we say that already?
Kathleen from Salish Sea.
Kathleen for 6 years.
Wow, you guys are rock stars. Laura, hi from Minnesota. Member for 4 years.
So awesome. Thank you for sharing. It's fun
you're
to see.
Still a member, even if it's sporadic. We appreciate you being here. All right, so let's get things rolling.
So as you noticed about a month ago, we released Conferring Notebook. We wanted to update the name to more accurately reflect the website's purpose, and we used it as an opportunity to rebuild it completely. This way we could lay some of the groundwork for some even bigger features that we have planned to come. So the login, features, and price are the same with many improvements that we'll go over today. And because of the launch being during the school year, we understand everyone's working with different schedules, different day-to-day challenges, and we didn't want the move to make everybody just shut down CC Pensive. So although we really recommend Conferring Notebook, since it is CC Pensive just better, our goal is to offer more communication and trainings to make the transition as smooth as possible. So we launched with the intention of closing down CC Pensive at the end of December, but as that gets closer, we'd really like to make sure everyone has made the switch before taking that step. So keep your eye on email. We'll have plenty of communication beforehand. And thank you to everybody for submitting questions in the survey that went out. We've taken note of the suggestions that were made, and then we'll be addressing the questions that were made as we move throughout today. So our intention for today is to go do a general walkthrough of Conferring Notebook with the focus on the features that are different from CC Pensive. We'll be sending out a follow-up email afterwards, going through some of the other features that we're not going to talk about. For example, the calendar didn't change a ton, so we're not going to walk through that today for the sake of time. But we'll send follow-up information afterwards so you can get more information on that.
The email where you got the link to be here, you all did that. We included a document right here. And this is to help process your learning and take note of where you're at now and how you can get to becoming more proficient with Conferring Notebook. So it starts with how long you've been a member. So thank you to all those who have been with us. A week, years, it all means the same. We appreciate you a ton. So just as we asked our students to do, we thought we should ask all of you, self-assess how much you know the Conferring Notebook. Have you logged in? Maybe you haven't. And so today, think of what you can do to get you closer to a 4, what you can ask of yourself, what you need from us. And as you go through, just think, what's new to me? What am I excited to try? And when you will do that. In case you didn't, let's just give you I'm just going to give you the link if you want to follow along. If you didn't get to print it off, no problem. You can always follow along with a notepad.
Yeah, so we just linked it in the chat if you haven't seen the document, if you want to look at it. All right, so we are going to begin our...
I think you forgot to introduce yourself.
Oh, wait, did I not?
This is Emily.
Did I not say Emily when you said Emily?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry, I'm Emily. Madeline. Yeah, so we are the co-developers. Did we mention that?
I don't think so.
So we developed.
Yeah. So what that means is we built it ourselves. It's come from a dream, and CC Pensive created. I do a lot of the front end design and the feature implementation, and taking suggestions from you and figuring out how best it will serve all of you.
Mm-hmm. And I do more of the back end, so I do all of the database work, and then a lot of the functionality with how the database and all the information gets stored. And so we're kind of like a 2-man team.
A duo.
2-woman team.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go through the demo now that we've officially introduced ourselves. So what we're going to do is we are going to... Okay, so we're going to start on this login page. This is what you see. So if you've never logged in before to Conferring Notebook, we're glad you're doing it today. And you're going to log in with the same login as CC Pensive. So your login's the same. You can log in up here. Click login. And I should have mentioned, so underneath the login page was a forgot password link. If you ever forget your password, you can fill that out and it'll resend you your login. If you ever don't receive your login, or if you don't receive the login email, then it could be because if you've never emailed info@conferringnotebook.com, that's our email address, then it could be going to your spam. So you can always try and add that to your contacts list. And if you still are having trouble, email us and we'll get you taken care of. So we just logged in. This is our dashboard page. So this looks different than than CC Pensive. Up here at the top, you can see upcoming meetings. So I can see, okay, today, these are the conferring session or the meetings that I set for today. And then I can also see these are ones for tomorrow. If I scroll down, we have some stats that we've displayed here. So we can see how many students, how many groups, and then also the number of conferring sessions added in the last 7 days for student and for groups. This is a test account, so we wouldn't have 0 for group. But this is just a way to kind of a self-assessment to see how often are we meeting with our students in order to make sure that we're staying on track with the goals that we're setting for how often we believe our students need to be met with. Next, we have tools. So these are the same items that you're going to see over in this sidebar. And then below that are actions. So these are some links that you would click on within these items on the left, and you can just go right to them. So if you knew right away I need to add a student, you can just click add student here instead of first going to students. So now that we've looked over the dashboard page, the way we're going to go about this today is we're just going to navigate down from the top to the bottom, just so you kind of have your roadmap and in an easy, digestible way. So we're going to start with students. So if I click on students, I can now see all the students in my class listed here. I can see who they're being shared with. And then if I knew I wanted to confer with them right away, I could click confer, as well as add any students I need to add. What we're going to start with is we're going to look at managed students. And this is one area that is new from CC Pensive. So if I click on manage students right here, this is where I can be editing any of my students from here. So previously on CC Pensive, you could edit one student or kind of all, like you could share one student or you could share all, but you couldn't select multiple. And here through manage students, you can do that. So I can select, let's say I have 4 students that I know that I want to share. I can click this action dropdown, and that's where I can click share, and then I can move forward and share. So there's also edit student details where you can edit the student's name and reading level. You can also share them with another premium account. You can transfer them to another premium user, archive them, or delete them. So students are at the top. Down below are shared students. We only have one in our account right now, but as that grows, you'd see more below. So I could click on Shelby, and then I would have the option to unshare Shelby with me. So this similar actions page is similar for groups. We're not going to show it, but you see it's similar things you can archive, you can delete, and again, you can select one or multiple. So then if we go to a student's page, we can look at Aisha, for example. We can now look at what a student page looks like. So the top is going to look similar to CC Pensive. We have name, reading level, who's the student is shared with, and then the groups, the strategy groups that she's in. Up here, we can see that same manage students where I would just be editing for her. And then you'll also notice there's also unshare, so I could go through and unshare her. I could also create an export, and we'll show how to create exports as we move through this. So then down below, we can now look at her previous conferring sessions. And this is where we've made a big change where you can now see student and group conferring sessions mixed in. So this is something we've gotten a lot of feedback on, people wanting to not just have them separated by just individual and just group. You can now see them combined, so that even though I met with Aisha in a group, I still saw her, and so we want to be able to see those all together. You can also organize, you can also filter by that. So if I just wanted to see just her student sessions, I could uncheck group sessions, or vice versa. If I just wanted to see group, I could uncheck students and I could see them there. So then there's also the cafe menu, and this is also different from CC Pensive, new and improved.
The way this differs from CC Pensive is an individual cafe menu would slowly build as you would add different conferring sessions with cafe goals and strategies. And so now we give you an at-a-glance view of all of the goals and strategies, and then each one will display differently depending on how many sessions you've saved. So Aisha has a lot that she hasn't been met with yet, so that shows in this light gray text. If we've met with her before, and if one of the strategies is in progress, it will be yellow. What that means is that she has been met with the strategy, but she hasn't had a touch point of 4. So if she receives a touch point of 1 to 3, that will show up as yellow. And then if you hover, you can see how many sessions she's had for that one strategy, when the latest one was, and what the latest touch point was. Same goes for those strategies that she has worked on and has gotten a 4 on. And so make and adjust predictions. She's had 5 sessions. Her latest one was that date, and her latest touch point was 4. So that's why it turned green. Another thing that Conferring Notebook has that CC Pensive does not is it populates the behavior strategies here as well. So if you are meeting with your students on behavior strategies, these would also show up as either yellow or green. We won't go too far into groups today. It's similar to students and really quite similar to CC Pensive. What you see here is you do see who they're shared with from the group screen and the categorization by subject here. The group is still really close to the students, and archives will also send you links on more about that. So looking at the questions, let's see here. How did you get to, Teresa asked, how did you get to the screen? Okay, we're still figuring out how best to do this and look at questions. Thanks.
So what we're doing right now is we're walking through ConferringNotebook.com. Our thought is kind of to walk through and do a general, and then we can do questions at the end, which might be a little easier, so we're not like kind of going back and forth, but obviously we want people to know. Okay, maybe are people trying to log into Conferring Notebook right now? Is that what's happening? People are trying to log in to like follow along? Is that what? The screen with individual student groups, individual sessions. Oh, okay. So Teresa's asking how you get to, okay, so if we go back, so what we're doing right now is, okay, we're starting here. So in order to get to an individual student or group, you first go to the students page to then get to a student page. So from students, I can click on Abigail, and then I can go to her student page. So just like groups, I can click on groups, and that's how I go to an individual group. So students, all students belong within the students umbrella in groups and vice versa. So we'll pop back and forth with the chat as we can, but we're looking at this, we're looking at the Conferring Notebook full screen, so it's kind of hard to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, and at the end, if we'll stay as long as possible to make sure that all of the questions are answered.
Yeah, we want all your questions to be answered. You're here, we're glad you're here, so we'll get all your questions answered. And so we'll just keep going through the site for now, and then we can just do full questions, and we'll check in on what we might have missed on questions.
Yeah, and the other page we went to was Manage Students, where you can bulk edit or archive, and that's right in the corner right here, this button in the top corner of Students.
Yeah.
So next we are going to move to Confer. So today from our on our calendar, we had it set to meet with Aisha. And so you can you'll see these Confer buttons throughout the site. And so what that does is it pops you right to the Confer page with that student already filled in. So if I go to Aisha and I click Confer here, it's going to take me to the Confer page. You can also get there by clicking Confer in the sidebar, and then you'll be able to select whoever you want to meet with, whether it's a student or a group. But since I did click Aisha to confer with, it already fills that in. Or you can change that and select a different student or a different group. And so here's Aisha. A new thing you can do is it'll automatically load today's date. If you want to backdate a session, you can always do that here and change the date. You can select different subjects, and if you want to see the last thing that you did, you click Show Latest Sessions, and this works for students and groups if they have sessions for that subject. She doesn't have any writing, so it says no writing conferring sessions. Otherwise, it would have the session there. So just as normal, you can write in your goal or strategy and the touch point. If you want to select from the cafe menu, a new thing you can do is you click this and it will give you a whole view of the cafe menu as well as the behaviors at the bottom. And a new thing you can do is you can select more than one cafe strategy for a conferring session. So if Aisha is working on use prior knowledge and she's working on a behavior strategy, or she's also we're layering on a new strategy here, you can select as many as you need for a student. Once you select them, you click Done, and those strategies will show up right here. And there's an option to give a touch point for each one, so that will keep track as you meet more on her individual cafe menu on her page, which we had just shown. You can also write in whatever you'd like here if you are doing a cafe menu goal and strategy, as well as a different one you're working on. You can write one in. And then just as normal, you can write your observations, next steps, save, and that will then show up on Aisha's page. Okay. Hilda, you asked if you can change a session other to a subject of my choice. Currently, no, right now, but that is something that we're working towards, and we'll share another big thing that we're planning on doing at the very end. So daily check-in, there's also a couple new things on our check-in page. I've already saved one check-in session today for these students. And when you add a new check-in, you do that by clicking this button up here. And you now have the option to click buttons to select a Daily 5 choice. You can also write them in. So if you have a different coding system, you can always write whatever you want, and that will save that way. Another thing, since we already met with our students today, the previous choice that they chose will show up gray here. So last round, Abigail checked in with read to self. And so now I can keep track and know that she might want to do a different choice for this next round. One piece of feedback that we've received since launch is the ability to see choices from the current week, not just that day. So we are currently working on a fix to that, so you can see from the last few days to make sure that all of the choices are being chosen by each student. And so if let's say Charlotte did do work on writing last round, she can still do it again. We can select it. By it being gray, it just is a visual aid for us to know that she might want to pick something else. So going back to the check-in, Math Daily 3 works the same as Daily 5 with just a different coding system. And then you now can add, if you forgot to add one on a certain day, you can now add on previous days, and that's something you couldn't do before. Also, you can change how many days are displayed. So the default is 7, so it's showing the past 7 days. If you want to show the past 14 or 30 days of check-in or a custom range of your choice, you can do that right there. All right.
So we're going to now look at keeping track. So keeping track it's how we monitor the frequency, that we're meeting with our students. So this is going to look pretty different if you've only ever seen CC Pensive. We just kind of rethought this and thought of a better way to see at a glance the number of sessions that you're meeting with a student, to see the frequency by seeing the number of sessions as well as the most recent session. So you can filter by date range now. We set the default as 30 days, which this one right now shows all time, but we set the default at 30 days with the intention that as the year goes on, seeing the total sessions for the previous, say, 6 months isn't the best representation of current frequency. So you can change that. You can also, if we click on this change right here, you can choose to sort the keeping track by the past 7 days, the past 14, 30, all time, as well as you could set your own custom date range. So again, the default is 30, which you can change. The other default is, so we can see right now it's in this graph view. If we wanted to look at it more similar to the way CC Pensive is, you can also click over here. You can choose to filter and see the date view instead. So this, you see a little bit more detailed information. We have a guide up here. You can see individual sessions have the dark line around them. Group sessions have the gray line around them. And then if we had any sessions saved by a shared teacher, those would show up bold. So you can get a little bit more information if you want to look into that. Or you can then also go back to graph. So one other thing to note in here is that the keeping track, similar to previous conferring sessions, is these numbers are showing group and individual. So you could see it a little bit easier here from the date view. You can see Aisha, this is showing her individual and group. So if I'm on the graph view and I hover over Aisha, her 5, I can see that she has 1 of those as an individual and 4 of those are group sessions. So you can just get a little bit more information quickly at a glance to see how often you're meeting with the students.
Okay.
So on to reading level data.
Yes, so reading level data, this is really similar. We haven't stressed it enough for CC Pensive, but for Conferring Notebook, you can add a label if you want. And so what this page does is it can take an at-a-glance shot view of everyone's reading level at a certain date and time. And so if you know that you want to take a snapshot on a certain day and then see the progress at a date later on, you'll want to take a snapshot. You can label it, or by default, these don't have a label, so it automatically just put the date there to see how they're changing. A new piece here is there is a quick link to go to edit all reading levels. So if you do want to, if you're finishing assessments and you're editing all reading levels, and then you can come back and take a snapshot, you'll go right here, and it'll automatically take you to edit all of your students' levels. Cafe menu is also very similar. You'll notice that this is the new cafe menu that has been recently released in the new cafe book that just came out. So we wanted to keep this as up to date as possible. And we also have behavior down below. And then all of these links go to that strategy page on the Daily Cafe, where you can get information such as the ready reference guides, parent pipelines, articles, videos, everything else related to those strategies. A new item, which it's not new, it's just renamed, and that is export. So you might remember print options. That's gotten a new name, and it is called export because now you can pick and choose exactly the data that you want to export. So you'll start at the top with select a student or group. So you can select one or all your students and your shared students. Same with groups. You can choose as one or you can do all. So if I do Aisha, I'll select her, and then you still have the option to do a PDF or a spreadsheet. All of your documents, you can include a note at the top and then select one or all of your subjects. And then if there's certain data points that you want to include, the default is all of them. You can always uncheck if you only want to see next steps, for example, and then whether or not you want to include your reading level and whether you also want to include group sessions. I know Aisha has a lot of group sessions, so I would keep that checked. And if you have a specific date range you want to pull the data, you can set that. Or if you leave it blank, it will pull all-time data. And then you click download report and it will have all of that in there for you. All right, so one more thing I want to share is your account and settings. So if you go to this page, this has what your username is and what your email is associated to your account, what type of membership you have, which will either be premium or basic, and your end date. And then if you want to edit, you can edit your email or your password or your username. Your username is what if you have shared students and you and another teacher are meeting with them, your username is put next to the sessions that you save for that student. Also, in case you didn't know, you all receive a discount by being a member for all professional developments offered at the Daily Cafe. So come back before you purchase a workshop or an online seminar and use this code here and come back and check, because this is always changing. One new thing that we actually launched after launch. We got a lot of feedback of people that wanted to have certain customizations. And so this is something that we put out there just a couple weeks ago. And this is the ability to set your account defaults. So what this means is you can choose exactly the page that you see right after you log in. So if you click account defaults here, the default's dashboard, but if you want the very first page right after you log in to be your student page or Confer or calendar, you can select that too. You can select that. So, or you can set your time zone. So if you're ever changing, it should guess pretty closely what you are. But if for some reason something's funky, go ahead and manually put that in. This is what Emily talked about. So this graph view is new to the keeping track, the at a glance, really visual look. If you want to see all the dates broken up, and right when you open keeping track and you don't want graph view to be the first thing that loads, you can select date view. So then when you first go, you can see all the dates lined up. And then you can also choose how many, what your default number of days that keeping track displays, either the past 7, 14, 30, or all time, and same with the check-in. So we hope this helps you just customize it a little bit more to fit your needs.
Okay, so now that we've gone through most of the main features, we're going to talk a little bit about support. So as we're thinking more about, making sure all of our questions get answered, making sure we feel really well equipped with how to tackle Conferring Notebook. Some things to note for moving forward are tutorials here under support. We have video and screenshot tutorials for everything we've talked about here and more. So these are some of the things we'll be linking in the email that'll go out after to talk about things like the calendar, if you have questions about that, which we didn't go over today. So for video tutorials, you can, we didn't look too much into groups, but we can look at managing groups. You pop that down and then I can watch a whole video on understanding how to manage my groups. There's also a screenshot walkthrough, so I can click on that. If at the end of this you feel like there's a certain thing you feel like you don't understand, this is a great place to come and just look for certain keywords. Even if you hit Control or Command F on your computer, you can type in the word and it'll just find it on here for you. So these all just are individual screenshot walkthroughs where it'll show you exactly how to, for example, add a student. So again, we'll link to some of these features in order to help answer any questions you might have afterwards to walk through. And then also in the event that today you still have questions, again, we'll answer questions at the end, but there's also this contact link button. So if you fill this out, this goes right to our email and it goes to our teammate Kelly and I. We're the people who answer most of the questions. And if you ever emailed her, she's an absolute delight. We love hearing from you. And, we really, a lot of what Conferring Notebook is today is based on feedback that we get from you guys. So the more you tell us, the better. If there's something you think is working great, we love to hear that. If there's something you think that could be improved, or if you use it in a certain way, people implement things in different ways. So we love just hearing feedback from you on how this could be an even better tool for you in your day-to-day. So reach out to us, even if you just want to email us and let us know how much you love it. We'd love to hear that too. Any and all feedback is welcome. So let's keep in touch.
We've talked about, we'll send up a follow-up email. And we also wanted to share a couple things that are coming up that we want you to see. So I'm going to get our slides.
Yes. So we're so happy.
And we're still coming back to questions, you guys. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we just want, if people need to get scooting, we want to
make sure we get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for being with us today. Thanks for being eager to learn about and master Conferring Notebook to best support your students. And we want to finish with some exciting news, some things that are on the horizon, just to for you to get an idea of where we're going. So for Conferring Notebook, some things we have coming up are, like we mentioned a few times, the check-in. We're going to be changing that so that you can see the previous week or the current week beyond just today. And then also customizable goals and strategies, which is something we've been working on forever, it feels like. But we're going to be getting this done in the coming months. So you'll be able to add your own customizable goals and strategies for each of your subjects so that when you go and confer in math, for example, it'll just automatically populate the goals and strategies that you use in math. We're also always making small improvements and fixing bugs and things like that. So again, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear what would make Conferring Notebook the best tool that it could be for you.
So Emily and I have been really excited for this because the last few months we've been watching Gail and Allie and Lori present on different coaching topics. And so the Daily Cafe started this a few months ago. So if you've done it before, awesome. If you haven't and you're an All Access member, check out our next one in December by Carol Merley, who does the Be Resilient articles. So her topic is tools for creating a calm classroom, which couldn't be a better time of year for that. And so I'm really excited to watch that one. And it's in this exact same format. And another one, so if you haven't been listening to anything, the new cafe book is out. And so we're really excited. More resources are coming to the Daily Cafe. For example, all the new Ready reference guides, a book study, and you heard it here first. There is going to be a live book study with Gail and Allison starting January 7th. So that will be announced in the tip of the week in beginning of December, I believe. And so what that's going to be, it's going to be in the same format. And each week they're going to focus on a different chapter until they get through the whole book. So that should be super exciting and really fun and hear it right from the authors. So I'm really excited to tune into that myself. So with that, everyone, you are wonderful.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. And one more exciting thing that Emily.
Okay, so we started, we have our own Instagram now. I just started it. Find us on there. It's really, at this point, just the two of us that follow it, that are in the community. So join our community. We want this community to be a place where we are inspired. We inspire each other. We will post updates, ideas. We would love to see how you're using it in the classroom, so tag us. And let's just make it one of the best communities we can on social media. So find us on Conferring Notebook. You can ask us questions. You can DM us. You can do anything, as well as email. So with that, thank you for being here. We'll now shift into questions. So if you feel like you got what you need, then
yeah, and we're recording, so you can always come back and look. We're just gonna go back through and and see what we've missed here.
We'll be sending out an email with the resources like we mentioned, but also the recording of this video so that you can watch it again if you need to. We'll also be like splicing it up so that if you just want to access one certain portion of it, then you can do that too. So we're going through the questions we may have missed right now that we'll address, and if you have any others,
go ahead and
type them in, and then we'll get there as we scroll through.
So Diane, when I confer with groups, will I still be able to see what we conferred about with before? Yes, so I hope you saw that on the confer. As long as
click back and just show. Yeah, so what so it looks a little different than CC Pensive, because in CC Pensive it always stayed there. In Conferring Notebook now, you just have to, it collapses to the previous conferring sessions. So
if you go to confer, right here, it doesn't have a student or group. You can add one. So whoever you choose here, so if I do pick one of my groups, pattern group, and I select that, and this is a math, so it automatically selects math group. You click show latest sessions, so I can see these right here and use them to then fill out my goals and strategies below. So you can pick right up from where you were here.
Yeah, so you just have to click on that link and they'll pop down.
And then Hilda, is there a place to collect my own learning objectives besides what's on the cafe menu? Yes, that's what was coming. That's what we're really excited about. Something we've always wanted to do. And a lot of the changes we made with creating Conferring Notebook, we've laid everything out to quickly and easily be able to collect your own customized goals and strategies, so you don't need to type them in every time. So something we've always wanted to do, and we're so excited. We can almost taste it. And then Hilda, also, you have a parrot in your room. How can I distinguish which groups she met with and which I met with on my account? Great question. And that's what really sets this apart, is that you can be sharing your students and your groups, which we didn't even talk about very much.
Yeah, and in this group, or in this classroom we showed you, there wasn't a ton of shared conferring sessions, just for simplicity.
So let's show you. So if I go to Aisha and I look at her past sessions, so these first 4 are group sessions, and you can see that because it has this group label as well as the group that she is in. This is an individual session because it doesn't have that information in it. On each session, it also shows who saved that. I'm Mrs. Penny, and I've saved all of these for her. If I share her, which she shared with Mrs. Moss, if Mrs. Moss goes into Aisha's page on her account and she saves a session, it will show up Mrs. Moss right here. So in order to have your para in order to know who wrote what, you both do need your own account. One of you will have all the students, and then you'll share them with the other teacher. And so to share, all you would have to do is you in the right-hand sidebar of Aisha, or back on Manage Students, which we showed you, you can do your whole entire class. You would go Share, Go, and what you would need to know is you need to know the email address of her account. And then once you click Confirm and Share, then that student or group, you can do either one, will show up in that teacher's Conferring Notebook.
So Lisa asked about giving someone access who doesn't have an account, like say, I think the example she gave was a para or maybe an administrator. Yeah, this isn't possible right now. This is something we've talked about. Yeah, we understand the value in being able to share information with someone who isn't a member. Another option right now would be with the exports, you can export the information, and you can email the PDFs to someone, so then they're not logging into your account if you don't want to share your password, for example, which I totally understand why you wouldn't want to do that. But you can still share the data without them having a membership as well. Let's see, what other questions?
Oh, to Beverly, what do I click to connect to the videos and articles?
So
all
tutorials?
I'm going to answer 2 tutorials and the Daily Cafe.
Okay.
So the tutorial videos for Conferring Notebook are in the left-hand sidebar when you're logged in. If you're not logged in and you're just on the home page of Conferring Notebook, you'll see them. So it's right here, or they'll be in the footer. So on any page of Conferring Notebook, you can scroll down and see them there. What I think you also maybe asked was the articles and videos. So the Daily Cafe has a ton of different resources for all of the cafe goals and strategies. So if we go to the cafe menu here, this is essentially an interactive cafe menu where you can click and learn more. So if you do want to learn more about a certain strategy, you can click that here, and it's going to take me to that page on the Daily Cafe. So on this page, then you can download the Ready Reference Guide, which is one sheet that explains what the strategy is, how it helps students, how to teach it, and whatnot. The assessment, I can bookmark to help the kids learn what it is, or Parent Pipeline to get the parents involved in understanding what each of the strategy is. There's also articles and videos that are tagged that you can use specifically for each strategy, as well as different lessons you can do. So this cafe menu is just a quick resource for you to go. Let's say you forgot how to teach a strategy, get to here, go to Daily Cafe, download your quick sheet, and then you can go from there. Okay, let's see. And yes, you will be able to see this webinar. You'll get a link to the replay in the next few hours.
Yay, Kathleen, we're glad you got the new book. Drinking hot cocoa, reading it, that sounds great.
Hannah, as a co-teacher, are there any limits I have with a student shared with me? That's a really good question.
The only one I can think of, main one, would be adding reading level or changing reading level. As a shared teacher, you can't do that, but that's also something that we're going to be changing.
So I would say the main limitations are you can't edit what the main teacher writes about that student. So you can only edit the sessions that you have saved for that. You also can't share a shared student. Only the teacher who has the student can share that student. You can still confer, you can still add them to your calendar, you can still see their individual cafe menu, you can still export their data in a PDF or CSV. I think the main things is you just can't, you don't have all the same editing privileges as the main teacher.
So Debbie, math strategies built in. We kind of touched on that you'll be able to add your own customizable ones. We don't have it built into the system itself since they vary so much based on grade level. But again, you'll be able to add your own customizable goals and strategies with the new feature. Also, okay, Debbie also asked about being able to save the new Conferring Notebook link. I'm guessing she means link or app.
Yeah. So that's saying you want this right here, which I can show you on. Actually,
she said tab. I don't know if that's what she means. That's another option though.
I get it to the new Conferring Notebook on my desktop. How do I get the new Conferring Notebook?
There's a couple options. Okay. But what Maddie's talking about is you can save it. You can save it so it looks like, since Conferring Notebook is a website, you can save it so it looks like an app on an Apple device.
Oh, but how do you get it on your desktop?
Or you can she's mentioning
she wants to create a,
because another thing she mentioned was tab. So like another thing is being able to save a bookmark. I think we just need to make screenshot tutorials for all of these things.
We're gonna write up an article for you.
We're gonna make some screenshot tutorials for all of these, and we'll add it in the email that goes out at the end. So
yeah, that's a great question.
All of your quick access options.
She wants just a link on her desktop where you just click it and it opens it up.
Yeah, and that's going to be different for Mac and PC. So yeah, great question. We'll get some resources on that to help you do that. Let's see what else.
Oh, Linda, great question. Do premium members have access to the Daily Cafe strategy descriptions you just referenced? Not necessarily. However, you can, if you don't have an all access membership to the Daily Cafe and you want all of these resources, you do get 3 per month, and you can still access these landing pages. So you can still go to this page and then use that here. Right now, you don't have access to all of these. Not to say that won't happen, but right now, no, you can't. You would need a membership to both CC Pensive and Daily Cafe, which there are tons of bundle discounts. So if you and someone else sign up, or a school, there are different discounts, especially if you sign up for both websites.
Yeah, and again, it's free to be an entry member for the Daily Cafe, which gives you 3 resources. So you can see if it's something you might be interested in.
Mm-hmm. And Hilda, does being a premium member give you access to trainings and materials for Math Daily 3? That's a great question. Anyone can go to the Daily Cafe and get materials for Math Daily 3. You will be limited to 3 per month. So if you 1 month, you can get different Math Daily 3 ones. You do get a discount for a Math Daily 3 online seminar. And so right now, I believe it's together. So if you do want to do an online seminar, I think you get I'm not sure the exact price, but if you go, you can see that. It's under pricing on the online seminar page.
Yeah. Yeah, Jen, thank you for walking through instructions on how to add that to the iPad as a button. Yay. Okay. Are there any other questions? I think I hope we didn't miss any. We're trying to scroll through and catch up on.
Oh, Lisa, your maybe tiered memberships for classroom teachers and support teachers. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I like that, and we'll definitely look into that. Where they're not creating new students, they really are simply want you to know that they met with them that day. So
yeah,
I like that suggestion. Thank you. We'll take note.
These are the suggestions we'd love to hear. So email us because we'd love to hear ideas.
And then in terms of resources, are there anchor charts or posters that I can share with my students of each strategy? That's a really good question. That is kind of what the ICANN bookmark is. So I'll show you one for use prior knowledge. So what this is you can cut this up into 3 and you can give these to students so they understand what it means to use this strategy. So it gives them the power and the confidence to say, I can do all these to work towards my strategy. So this is something they can put in their books, they can hold on to them, put them on in their desk, whatever, and written in their language to help them best. So that's a great question. Okay, well, if that's it, you guys, this was really fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We plan to do more of these. Again, I know we mentioned this, but we plan on doing more just support, trying to figure out how to best get the information, get questions answered in as many different ways we can think of. Our next idea, we don't have a date yet, but again, we'll contact you. We were thinking doing another walkthrough, but in terms of the instruction protocol, so actually the order that you'd be going through in your class. And again, between email and find us on Instagram, we'd love to keep in touch. And again, get your, the document one final time. So looking at the document again, thinking about what else you need.
In this one?
I mean, if you have
Send
another question,
us.
ask us, but if not, email us. Seriously, email us. Either Kelly or I will answer, and we would love to make sure that you get everything sorted out.
Do we not want to leave? I feel like we don't want to leave.
We're just keep hanging out, I guess.
I can just make dinner really quick. I'm just kidding. Okay, you guys are wonderful. Thank you,
guys.
thank you, and we'll be in touch.
Have a good night.
See ya.